Well, we're going to get our conversation underway. Folks are still joining in real time, Lanissa, but let me give you, since a lot of people have been on this session before and there's some returners, I'm going to give you the overview of what we do on this call. This is Practice Habits, and this was created because, back in the Carter administration, when I became an administrator, found that there was a lot of new implementation, new innovation, and it was difficult to figure out how we actually do the work at the point of care. Doctors knew the clinical and surgical part of it. But the business side was harder to navigate, at least it was for me. And a lot of people mentored me and poured their knowledge into me. And so we want to do the same. So we've committed to every week having a session on one topic or another as a way to give back. We've had, as high as 40 people on the call. We've had as few as me and Cade. But it was still good value for all involved. People can watch these on our website later on. But today, team, I'm really excited that we have Lanissa here. Met her, will it be a year and 4 or 5 months ago now, through a company we were working with in the interventional glaucoma space. And her role was to help new practice consultants for this company know how to talk about the importance of the optometric referral. Now, Lanissa's been doing this for a while. She's from Oklahoma City. There's a lot of doctors there, but she works all over the country to help practices get their OD network set up, helps them with compliance, but also advises on some other, marketing 101 kind of tactics and 201, of the doctor themselves. And so it's been fun to get to know you over the last year and a half, Lanissa. And frankly, I don't know a lot of people who just have a consultancy that's just dedicated to the OD, the referral component of our work. And so much needed, but it's super hard to niche. And
Mhm.
you've done it well. And so we've got a lot of friends here on the call that can learn a lot from you. They'll continue to join. And I know you shared some of your own, you created some of your own slides. So I'm going to let you show your screen while I kind of do the rest of our introduction here. Team, just as she's doing that, I just want to remind you, as we're going into Asker season, just over 1 month away, there's a bunch of meetings that we want to make sure that you know about. One is the Business of Interventional Glaucoma. That's on the Thursday before Askers, the 9th of April, and that's worth registering for you and your teams and your doctors. It's all about the implementation part of interventional glaucoma, which frankly, it's the hardest part, understanding the coding, the reimbursement, the training for your team. The procedures might not be that difficult, but understanding what to do when on the business side can be. And so that's what that course is all about. But now that you've got that pulled up, Lanissa, we'll talk back and forth. I'm sure I'll interrupt you over
Do,
the next little
do.
while, and then we really want to hear from our audience members, their questions about the category that you've become a consultant in.
Yeah, absolutely. No question is off the table, and I want this to be a conversation. So at any time, any of you that have questions, please just jump in and ask away. If I haven't met you yet, I'm Lanissa Brantley, and really, as Matt mentioned, 100% focused on physician referrals and physician referral networks for your practice. I've been doing this for 27, 28 years, started out as boots on the ground in pharma and then moved into ophthalmology, physician liaison role, and then everything in between, leading and hiring large teams, and then executive and now consultant. So this is 100% of what I do is really just helping practices grow, get more patients through more physician referrals. So why do physician referrals matter? And it's kind of that old saying, if you do what you've always done, you get what you've always gotten. And so if you're looking for something different, physician referrals is a great place to start because it's a long-term practice growth strategy, which means it's not dependent upon algorithms. It's not dependent upon this platform or that platform. Direct mail, that's, gone by the wayside a long time ago, or even other uncontrollables. And so that's the thing about physician referrals is they're steady and they're long term. It also gives you the ability to reach patients you wouldn't otherwise reach with high quality, high converting leads. So they're pre-diagnosed, they're pre-counseled, and they're ready and excited to have their treatment with you because they trust their doctor and their doctor is telling you or telling them this is where I would go, this is where I would send my mom. And so they come to you. So if you look on the right side of this slide, there's funnel. So you've got your digital leads and they come up a lot higher in the funnel. They're just kind of kicking the tires. They're trying to figure out, is this procedure for me? How much does it cost? I don't even know where to go. I don't even know where to start. So they're higher up in the funnel. Doesn't make them bad leads at all, but they're just higher up in the funnel. So it takes a little bit more time to get that narrowed down. But your OD referred patients, they're coming to you ready to make that decision and to take action because again, they're pre-diagnosed, they're pre-counseled, and they are have their procedure with you and you specifically because that's where their doctor that they know and trust told them to go. And it can be a cost-effective way also to get more referrals in the sense that you can get started with just your time. Obviously, there's lots of cool things you can do with this. There's lots of cool technology and things, but you can get started with just your time and then you can grow this program as you go. And thinking about getting started, how do you get started? What's the best way to get started? A lot of times you think, I've got to go see all these people, I've got to go to all these different places. But if you think about it, 5 referring doctors sending 5 patients a month ends up being 25 new patients a month. And when we're thinking about surgical eyes, that is the potential for 50 new surgical eyes a month from just, again, 5 doctors sending 5 patients a month. So it doesn't take that many doctors sending that many patients to make a really, really big difference here. So what would that look like for you? Just think about if you haven't gotten started, this is the way to get started. If you have gotten started, but you're looking to grow this, think about those 5 or 10 doctors. Maybe they're already referring cataracts, but they could refer keratoconus, they could refer glaucoma, they could refer refractive. And so, is there some area that you can expand those referrals with somebody that's already referring? Think about who's next door to you, who's within a 5 mile radius of you that's not referring, that you could go knock on their door and visit them and shake their hand and begin a referral partnership and relationship with them. A big one right now that a lot of people overlook is think about high volume opticals. And their job is really to just refract a ton of patients and then prescribe a ton of glasses and contacts. But they need somebody to take care of their medical patients. There's no reason why it couldn't and shouldn't be you. So think about those people in your area. Think about people that you already have a lot of mutual patients with. Maybe there's an OD that you have a lot of mutual patients with already, but they're just not referring to you. No reason that you can't go check in and say, hey, we saw Mr. Jones last week. He did amazing. And we'd love the opportunity to take care of more of your patients. So those are some places that you can get started, or if you've already gotten started, those are some places that you can expand those referrals. I'm going to pause for just a second because I've said a whole lot and just see at this point if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I want to start off with the questions, Linus. And so, first of all, thank you for just the short overview so far. When you say, just get started, are you imagining is this an administrator doing this? Is it the doctor going out and making these connections? Are you cold calling? Give us a sense of the actual structure. Be specific.
Okay, that's such a great question. My preference is for practices that can do it, that you have a dedicated physician liaison with dedicated time. The reason for that is because if you don't dedicate the time, your phone's going to ring. You're going to have a million fires to put out every single day. And so you can have the best intentions of the world of going out and visiting doctors, but how realistic is that going to happen consistently if it's the practice administrator or the physician? That being said, I will still say start where you're at. So if you're not in a position yet to bring on or hire or dedicate someone full time or part time to this, then start with what you've got with the caveat of schedule the time and stick to it. When you make this time block, stick to it. Otherwise, it will just never happen and you'll have all these starts and stops and starts and stops and starts and stops. So that's a long answer to a short question, but hopefully
No,
it's
but it's they're good responses as well. I've got some to add to it to bring some more value add to it. But what other questions do we have for Lanissa on the topic so far?
Why do practices tend to not do this? This seems extremely straightforward. It's like committed person, building relationships, mutual value add for the physician, for the OD, for the patient, versus, trying to trick algorithms and crack codes of, the next social platform to drive the new leads. Like this seems like the most direct and clear, and I don't want to say easy, but just like least complicated way to get new patient leads. And in your experience, why is there resistance, or is there resistance, or why is there a lack of focus, or is there a lack of focus?
Um, so, so Kate, in my experience, I agree with you. This is the simplest, most straightforward way to get more patient referrals. The reason why people don't get started is in an ambitious practice. Sometimes you just either don't have time, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to start, or maybe you think you know where to start and you get started, but you don't see the results right away. So, if you think about building a physician referral network, it is one of the most lucrative ways to build a practice, but it is a little bit like a marathon more than a sprint. And sometimes in a marathon, and Kate, you're a runner, so you'll understand this. Sometimes when you're training, sometimes those first 2 miles are the hardest, right? And so you go out and you start running and you've got some momentum and you've called on 4 or 5 doctors in one day, and maybe you didn't get past the gatekeeper that day. And so it's easy to think, oh, this doesn't work. When really, if you maybe would have just seen 2 more doctors that day, those would have been the doctors that you had the great conversations with. And so those are some of the things that inhibit people from getting started. Either just there's a lot going on and this feels like one more thing, or just the we're going to get started, we're going to dip our toe in, and then we're not going to push past that first mile or that second mile or those couple of calls.
I want to add something to this, Lanissa, because I think that you're right. It's worth just getting out there and having a dedicated person. Okay, to answer your question, I think it's because to do it well, it's probably an FTE, which is not insignificant when a practice is starting out. That it would be potentially, an eighth, a seventh of your entire staffing budget. And a word of caution here, because what we don't want to do is be the restaurant that opens with high aspirations, and then the table service, the waiting time, the food comes out cold, like all these things aren't ready. Make sure you are operationally ready for the referral, or you'll be dead before you start, because that patient will go right back to that referring provider and tell them about their experience. You have to be at least as good as the experience at the referring provider's office, preferably better, right? Or they'll hear back about it. And so, and I see a member of VTV's team giving me the old thumbs up there. Operational excellence, then referral excellence. And part of that is just being the best, the easiest to do business with, right? So starting with things like forms or a doctor hotline or some way to make the referral simple, I think could be really, really valuable. Linessa, what do you think about that?
Yes, and kind of to piggyback off of what you're saying about operational excellence, the operational excellence makes the physician referrals so much easier for two reasons. First of all, the patients are going to come and they're going to be wowed, but also it's so much easier to talk about your practice with passion. And it's really hard to convey what you don't have. And if you're not passionate about your practice, your referring doctors are not going to be either. But when you know, okay, we have really great clinicians, we've really figured out the way to roll out the red carpet for our patients and take great care of them, you can't help but go out and share that and talk about
Mhm.
referring doctors. And so there is a synergy there in being able to actually be passionate and grow those referrals. And that actually helps, back to Kate's question, that actually helps too with that consistency and that persistence, because you know you have something valuable that their patients need and you just can't wait to tell everybody about it. It's like when you go to the great restaurant, the new restaurant, and you have an amazing experience and you're telling all your friends about it. This is kind of the same thing. So having that
That's
operational
right.
excellence it really is the place to start.
Well, and you can also, as you're getting to know people, if you build the relationship first, go to their practice, learn from them, and then say, hey, just so you know, I'm trying to build out operational excellence. And the biggest gift you could give me, especially early on, is feedback.
Mhm.
So if a patient comes back and they waited too long, if it wasn't the way you wanted it sent back to you, if you didn't get the information in such a way, would you just do me the favor and just be really quick to give me that feedback? Because I'm still coachable in my practice. And I think that if you deputize them, one, they'll take it seriously. You're kind of inviting them into partnership
Exactly.
without calling them a partner. And then it'll be a two-way street with that feedback mechanism. Real quick, Michael King asked a question about compensation. If I'm going to hire an OD liaison, what kind of compensation might we ask? And for all those listening, that what that sounded like is Michael's interested in being your neighborhood local OD liaison, and I'd jump right on that.
Yeah. MK, you want to come call on some doctors? You'd be great at it.
Oh, it's funny actually. At the King Lake KT Vision, we're wanting to do is they want me to help build that program and wanting to, so I want to help jumpstart it. But at the same token, is that I want to know when once we get it up and going to be able to hire somebody into that position. So I
Sure,
didn't realize I
sure,
was able
sure.
to talk. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
No, that's okay.
that's great. I want to back up first of all to what well, now I'm all over the place. Let me answer your question, Michael Keegan, then we'll back up to what Matt was talking about. The compensation can look a lot of different ways. I come from a sales background. So, as a salesperson, what I like to see, and you would definitely want to talk to your attorneys about this before you make any final decisions. I'm a fan of a base salary plus a commission. You want whoever you hire, if it's a full time person, to have a living wage so that they want to continue to show up and go to work for you every day. But also having some sort of bonus structure or commission structure keeps them motivated to continue to grow the
Yeah,
business.
totally.
So I'm a fan of kind of a base plus commission structure, and I tend to be um, 50, 60% base, and then, 40, 50% commission. That's my preference. Again, that's as a salesperson. So you want to kind of clarify all of that with your attorneys and just make sure that you're staying in compliance with everything. But I'm a fan of a base plus commission structure.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you.
Lanissa, I'm going to have you finish out some of your remarks here, and then there's a bunch of things we can talk about and kind of do some popcorn questions, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So just kind of final parting thought, and this is just the number one hack. It's the number one way to get more referrals from more referring doctors. So if you're looking for what is the hack, it's make more calls on more referring doctors.
Hmm.
So just make more office visits to more referring doctors. And if you get 9 no's in a day, but one yes, that's one yes that you didn't have the day before. So thinking of more no's as more opportunities for the yes, especially for a practice that's first getting started, it does take about 3 to 6 visits to the same practice before they start getting familiar enough with you and building enough of a relationship with you. So in the beginning, you may get a few gatekeepers that are just, no, the doctor's too busy. But after that third, somewhere around that third to fifth visit, that's when we start seeing a shift in that relationship. So just remember that the more no's just creates more opportunities for the yes. And back to those 5 referring doctors sending 5 patients a month, you don't need everyone in your market referring to you. That's great when it happens, but you just need someone. Those,
Yeah.
you know, few patients. So
You
that's
know, I
kind of
want to,
my final thought, my final hack.
yeah.
Let's just, yeah, ask questions. Where,
Well, I
what,
want to respond to that. You're basically doing the shots on goal, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Stay out there and get doctors to respond. I'm just going to share just a pearl that I think has been really helpful, at least in the upper mid and Mountain West. And it's this: when a provider starts out in a program, usually there's quite a bit of time in their schedule. There's slack because they haven't booked out all of their patients yet. They're new. And a trick that I found is rather than building, opening up their entire schedule Monday through Friday, is perhaps, consider blocking their calendar on Mondays. So Monday mornings, maybe they have 15 visits in the morning, and then maybe they don't have a schedule for Monday afternoon, and then they've got one for Tuesday afternoon. That's 15 or 20 visits. It does a couple of things. One, it forces people um, into a schedule where they're going to run into other people who are also seeing the same doctor. It'll keep your doctor in clinical shape. What we don't want them to do is go through training, come from another place that's really busy, and then all of a sudden slow down because I only have 4 patients this morning. Suddenly, 4 patients become 90-minute exams. And we want them to remain 7 to 10 minute exams. So let's lock them all into that spot. Plus, it keeps those other day parts open for going and visiting doctors. Because while referring doctors, I just assume they want to see me. They don't. They prefer to talk to their peers, right? What kind of patients do you want to receive? How do you like to receive feedback back from the surgeons you refer to? Hey, what are some things that other practices are doing that you really enjoy? What really bugs you in some of your collaborative care relationships now that I should be sure to avoid? I mean, if those first few visits can be from the doctors, alongside a liaison, really, really powerful. But if you just open up their schedule, it'll be just full enough to not be able to do it anytime during the week. And so that creates some space for not only the visit, but the thank you note or the article, or hey, here's the recent study that I was published in. Here's what it means in our practice. Just the PR that they should participate in as a young startup doctor.
Mhm. I love that, Matt. We see that all the time, the opening of the schedule, and then you've got an appointment here and here and here and here, and it's just spread out enough that there's no dedicated time. But if you block
Right.
time and protect those time blocks, then there's opportunity for them to go build those
Well,
relationships.
and it's not just the doctor that gets out of shape. Suddenly, the doctor has technicians that are like, boy, we had 10 this morning. Whew, that was a lot. When across the clinic, maybe they're seeing 20.
Mhm.
And now, as we add more to that doctor's schedule, they're feeling like, man, it shouldn't be like this. This is way too many. Or we want to keep them in like on roller skates,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
all the other providers.
Yeah.
What other questions do we have for Lanissa? She's set up programs all over the country and has a great knowledge of how to do it.
I do want to back up something you mentioned earlier, Matt, when you talked about inviting the referring doctor in to even helping you build the program. I found that there's a lot of value in that. First of all, it buys you some grace. So if you're new to this, and sometimes you think that you have operational excellence and you don't really know where the gaps are until you kind of, you turn up the not the volume, whatever, on the water hose, you turn up the pressure on the water hose and then you see where the leaks are. So it buys you some grace when you're saying, hey, we're getting started. It buys you some grace. They know you're just getting started. We'd love to know how we can help, what your thoughts are. How can we build this program? You can actually build a program that works for your referring partners and works for you. It's beneficial
Mhm.
for both. And that's at the same time, you're building the relationship there. You're not just making a sales call, you're not giving a presentation. It becomes a relationship. And that's where those long-term relationships become really valuable and really loyal. So it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. Yes, we want operational excellence, but I also say it doesn't have to be perfect. Let's go for progress over perfection.
Right. It's a really good point. And like that restaurant example, right? Opening night, good to remind people on the way in, hey, just so you know, it's opening night.
Mhm.
And just be human enough to say the best feedback, the best thing you could ever do for us is the gift of feedback, right? So they know that this isn't you have no intention of staying static with your current, experiential performance. What other questions do we have for Lanissa?
Hey, Matt, it's Michael. I have another question if I could.
Yes.
So,
Hmm.
Melissa, I got a question for you and on the refractive lens exchange side, I know that historically with co-management, it's predominantly been like cataract or LASIK ICL. Have you seen any practice, approach refractive lens exchange with co-management and be successful at it? Or is it still kind of in the early stages for that? I'm just curious to hear your thoughts.
There's lots of practices that have been successful at it. It's really
Awesome.
it's really a matter of educating. letting people know this is available, this is what it looks like, this is what that patient looks like, and helping them with that messaging for their patients. But yeah, absolutely, it's possible.
Got it.
I think, Michael, and you know this firsthand, but a lot of times in the refractive world, what we like to do is establish what would the cost be for the procedure itself, and then what's the aftercare cost. And it's helpful to just keep those two things separate. And we like to do that. We've done it forever in laser vision correction. And just like over in Medicare, how that's a global fee, the surgery and the aftercare. We
Yep.
say, well, over here in the elective world, that's the same thing. You can't have surgery without having a planned aftercare. So you can do that with us, or we can call your primary eye care provider and see what they might charge. And there's other institutions that can help make that easy, like Ko-Fi and others, so
Yeah,
that
totally.
OD can charge what they want. But it's really, I think, more easy to section it off now than ever, and just saying, we only do it the way Medicare does it, which is part of the fee is aftercare. You can't have it without it.
Great. Thanks.
Great question.
Yeah, very good.
And I can't see you, Michael, I'll just confidently
I'm
say also.
driving. I'm driving, so I probably shouldn't. I will do a quick follow up if you don't mind. And that
Please.
question is, if Lanissa, and forgive me, I was actually just finished a meeting, so if you mentioned this, I apologize. But if you're thinking about a practice that wants to jumpstart their program, how much of it do you think is, pounding the pavement, going directly in, meet and greet, with the liaison with the optometrist in the clinic, and how much of it do you think is getting them in front of the MD and having that physician to physician conversation over a dinner or something to that effect? Like, have you seen one more effective than the other for new practices starting co-management, or is it a bit of both?
Um, I'm a fan of any way that you can get in front of referring doctors, do it. So if you can get MD to MD or MD to OD
Yeah,
conversation, I
yeah,
think that's always a win. But and so creating opportunities for that, whether that's educational events, CEs, lunches, those kinds of things, that's great. If you can't do that though, it's still better for a physician liaison or a practice administrator or somebody, whoever you determine is going to go out and visit offices. It's still, somebody is still better than no one. Is that helpful?
yeah. It is absolutely yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Michael,
however you can get in front of them, get in front of them, but then figure out ways to also make the doctor to doctor connections as well.
I don't know if this is still true in the upper mid and mountain west, but there was a time, and so I mean it's worth calling your own state society, but there was a time where following along an MD into surgery is something that an optometrist can get COPE approved credit for. Like
Ah,
State,
like a half a credit per hour or per 2 hours or something. And so one of the things that are worth hanging out there is the notion of, listen, it'd be good to learn firsthand about each other. And whether you have a patient with me or not, maybe just come visit for a couple hours and see our flow. I'd love your feedback on the flow, but there's a chance that that's the first time that they've ever been asked to do that.
Mhm. Yeah, and most states still will honor a preceptorship for 1 or 2 hours of credit. So yeah, check with your state board and see if they'll honor that. And never, well, right now, after however many years of doing this, right now it's a 100% referral rate for a doctor that if you invite them to come and shadow you in clinic or in surgery, so far I've never seen that not result in a referral
Yeah.
for
It
any
just
practice I've ever worked with. So
Yeah.
yes.
The asterisk I'll put there is the OIG watch list is still very heavily focused on the OD and MD relationship and referral patterns. And so be sure to just scrutinize your state society's guidelines there. And if they do allow it, great. And you just might need another governing party COPE or whoever to validate it. And there might be limits on how many hours, et cetera. But just that's the watch out anytime we're talking, any kind of value we're bringing to the OD.
got it.
Yes,
Hey,
absolutely.
Matt, Darian has a question for you guys in the
Yeah,
chat.
Darian, go ahead. From
Sorry, I
Louisiana.
can't see the chat, guys. So thank you,
Oh, in
Katie.
the chat. Sorry, Darian. Okay, we got what are we bringing to that second and third visit? I've introduced myself. I've started a newsletter. I've created a landing page for referrals. Now what?
Okay. Okay,
Good question.
let me ask Darren, great question. Are you, well, I let me ask, are you talking like treats, like donuts, like things? Or are you talking about brochures or both, either or?
Both, either or. I'm just still trying to build those relationships with our referring providers.
Mhm.
So I started out, hi, I'm new to this position. I know we've had it maybe like years in the past, but I want to revamp it. I want to make it better for you guys. So I did a survey, like, what do you like? What don't you like? What could we do better? What do your patients want? Like, just all kinds of questions like that. So then I introduced myself, offered like staff lunch and learns for their staff, and started that newsletter and a landing, like all these different resources because I don't want to just be the cookie lady. But now I'm getting to the point where I feel like I go in and I'm just kind of stalling out. Like, hey, how's it going? Y'all need any brochures? Anything I can do for you? Everything's good. Okay. So now I just drove, an hour away or wherever, um, for a 2-minute conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, such a great question. So here's the thing, you don't necessarily have to bring anything new. You can bring the same brochure for 6 months. Um, but what I would do when you bring that brochure is maybe open it up and point something new out, whether that's a new treatment, a new, service line, something that you're wanting to highlight. Michael, in your case, really just highlighting the RLE. This is something that we're seeing a lot of right now. This is the patient type, and so really just highlighting something. And so you don't even necessarily have to bring something different every time, Darian. You can bring the same business cards, the same brochure. Just highlight something. And what it does for you is instead of just going in and being kind of a brochure dropper, which it sounds like, it's easy to fall into that habit, you're actually there providing them valuable information. And so sell your brochure just like you're selling
Yeah.
your services.
I might add a little bit to that as well, Linus. Like, you've got such good experience here. Darian, one of the things that I think is worth thinking about is what is your primary objective in the visit in the first place? Is it to bring them, information? Is it to make the referral channel open? What is it? In my mind, at any turn, primary objective is to get the doctor in front of our doctor. So if I can bring a doctor, even better. If I can't bring the doctor, how else can I get the doctor in front of the doctor? Well, I'm here to tell you that remember last month when we were talking about some of our new interventional glaucoma solutions? Well, this month we're having a dinner. And so I'm here to tell you about the dinner we have on, procedural pharmaceuticals. And oh, by the way, here's our new brochure that talks about interventional glaucoma. And maybe that's what your visit topic is for that whole month. That might be Glaucoma Awareness Month. And then the next month, you might just say, hey, a lot of doctors talk about the research we have going on. And there's a lot of questions. Here's a list of the studies we're currently recruiting for. And just so you know, we're having a webinar where Dr. Williamson is going to talk about all those studies. You or your team are welcome to join that in case you have patients who want to hear more. But just kind of looking 3 or 4 months out and maybe almost going by topic,
Mhm.
and having that your primary objective as an option. How do I get my doctor in front of these doctors if they're interested? Okay, there's this dinner. Next month might be a webinar. The next month might be your symposium, or where you are, it might be, hey, maybe we'll see you at Seco. All these different things that get to your primary goal. And then the secondary goal is dropping off stuff or teaching their team. But that might be kind of some ways to think about it if you have a primary and a secondary goal for your visits.
I'm a
That sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of either monthly or quarterly themes. just like Matt
Mm.
mentioned. So pick your theme. Is it interventional glaucoma this month? Is it RLE next month? Is it ICL the next month? And that does a couple of different things. First of all, you're not having to figure out what you're going to say every day, all the time. But you also by a couple of weeks in, you're really confident in that messaging, right? You figured
Right.
out what questions to ask, how to really talk about it, how to navigate that. And so I think that helps. And that helps also dictate what are you going to bring. If this is ICL month, you're going to bring those ICL brochures or those refractive brochures. So that really helps you to have your messaging and to kind of know what you're going to say as well, instead of feeling just like, okay, what am I going to say this month? I've been there twice. I've introduced myself. They know who I am. Now what? Having those themes really helps you.
I can't agree with you more, Lanissa. The more you talk about a topic, the more it starts to feel like we don't do premium IOLs. We have a premium IOL program.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
Here's how we talk about premium IOLs, and because you'll have it down, and I think that that's a really important part of this category. We'll go with one more question for Lanissa.
What's your favorite town in Dayton, Ohio?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think you know the answer to that one, right? Centerville?
Oh, Pride.
Yeah.
What's your favorite town in Dayton, Ohio? There's a town called
There's a little history there.
That's
do you
where
know
I grew
where?
up. Lanissa lived there at one point.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know where Engagement, Ohio is?
I don't think I do.
I've
Engagement,
heard
Don't
of
Ohio?
fall
it.
for it. I guarantee you he's
It,
not being
it's
serious.
right
Don't
between
fall for it.
Marion
Oh,
and it's
Yeah,
between
being right
Marion
there.
and
Yeah.
Dayton.
that's
You just
funny.
assume 9 out of 10
I think I
times
heard
he's
it
not
from
being
you,
serious.
Matt.
You've heard it. Oh, good. Lanissa, awesome, awesome job. I think we can learn a lot from you. Uh, Look up her website. You can do a great just a search on Lanissa Brantley, or what's your website, Lanissa? Because you've got a
It's
lot of great resources there.
LanissaBrantley.com. And we also do a weekly newsletter. So if you just want kind of the insider scoop into what's
Mhm.
going on in physician referrals or OD referrals, you can sign up at LanissaBrantley.com on the website. You can sign up for the newsletter as well.
Yeah, it's a great newsletter. I get it. I love your subject headings. They always get me. Thanks everybody for joining. Next week, we're going to be talking to Netta Nickpour from Hawaii, and we're going to be talking about building a program, switching programs, and also where cornea cross-linking fits into the practice today. Big hot topic for the world today. So thanks for joining. Thanks, Lanissa.
Thanks.